when you spend, at some point you have to pay the bill. And apparently this is what we did. And the thing is that we all did it.
Yes.
It's very easy to blame the politicians and say
all
that...
did who? Who are you talking about?
We, the people. We, even those of us who didn't avoid taxes or whatever.
Yes.
In a way, in our everyday life, we allowed others to do so. So everybody is responsible, in my opinion. Okay, some people may be 5% responsible, some people might be 95% responsible, but we're all responsible as a society. And if you ask me, the crisis in Greece was first social and then economic. When the education works and societies produce educated citizens, they will take care of everything. They will vote for the right people, they will make the right choices. Even the wrong choices that they will make, they will be able to analyze them and learn from the mistakes, because you don't learn from failure, as many say. You learn from thinking about what happened. Okay, so then, but everything is, in my opinion, begins with education. And if you ask me, one big issue which I see in Romania is education itself.
What do you see going on wrong around the education?
Numbers are not very encouraging, in terms of those people who are characterized as
analphabets,
functional analphabets and stuff like that.
42%.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and it so happened that when I met somebody, then I only realized what that really is. And these people are the people that will hire us. We will hire them. They are our clients. We might be their clients. I mean, this is where the focus should be. In my opinion, nothing is a guarantee. If tomorrow I leave to my son, 10 million euros, of course that's 100 million euros. Is that a guarantee that he will be happy? No, because it's up to him to be happy. It's not about the money. It's not about the diploma. It's about us as people. If we fix us, if we're okay with us, then we can handle everything.
So, Mr. Chatzidakis, how would you like to be?
Can I ask you to call me Sotiris, please? Everybody in Romania is calling me Sotiris. So
of course, I appreciate that.
Actually, some people call me Sotirescu. So,
Sotirescu.
Yeah.
We got these.
After 13 years in Romania, I think I deserve it. I earned it.
Did you hear about the case of the Romanian businessman in Sibiu the other day?
No.
It was gruesome. Someone, a bunch of thieves, got into his house to mug him, and they beat him almost to death. The guy's in the hospital now. Oh. It made my heart clench like this. I got so sad about it yesterday. Did you hear about it?
No, I don't follow so much the news. I mean, I both here and in Greece the same. I have decided to deal with things which I can influence.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, of course, it's a heartbreaking incident.
But I just visited the guy's factory. He was so energetic. He was a powerful presence. And he was one of the guys that are moving, are making things like all the CEOs in CEO clubs. You're the head of CEO clubs. I know you talk to a lot of people that we call them expats. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking if news like this makes the foreigners, let's say the expats in Romania, think twice about how safe this place is.
Not by far.
No?
No, not by far. Actually, 3-4 weeks ago, there was an official, I don't remember where I read it, maybe it was The Economist or something. Bucharest is the second safest city in Europe.
Yeah. After whom?
I don't remember, but probably it's a boring city like Zurich or something. I don't know. Anyway, which is amazing.
Keep it boring. Let's keep it boring.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's amazing. And coming from Athens, I can tell you that in Athens, the level of security is way, way lower. I mean, I built a house and I have placed 9 cameras. This is not normal. I mean, to me, if you ask me, I think this is a defeat of our society there to have to install 9 cameras.
I just traveled to...
Here I leave the door open.
Don't say that.
I don't live in Bucharest.
You shouldn't say that.
Okay.
I just visited Greece this summer. I drove my car there. And Athens felt busy. Mm-hmm. But just as I went in and I got into an Airbnb or booking, an apartment, I was talking to this guy, very, very cool guy, and he told me to to stay out of some areas because Athens is not as it used to be. But I remembered I was there also in 2006, and it was the same thing. Athens didn't change one bit in 2006, 2023. What's wrong? What's wrong in there?
Look, don't forget that we went through a very long period of deep crisis, but very deep economic crisis. That was between 2010, 2011 until 2019. And that influenced in many things and, of course, slowed down many things. And I'm talking about a crisis where the official percentage of unemployment was 24%. When the official is 24%, you can imagine what the unofficial is. So that changed a lot, the Greek society.
How? How did that change? Because we're looking around in Bucharest, in Romania, we see things going, everything seems to go fine. We look at the politicians, they screw up, it's okay, the economy is still going. But I traveled to Greece during the protests, and I think 2006 it was.
Yeah.
Big protests, big strikes. Things were starting to fall apart around then. So what's the lesson to be learned from our brothers in Greece, let's say, because we share a lot. When I traveled there, I saw some very, very smart politicians, very, very smart businessmen, and the economy was still moving. But then started struggling, and then Athens went off the map. I hope you don't mind saying that.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's your personal view, and in a way, I share it, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't get offended by that. When you spend, at some point you have to pay the bill. And apparently, this is what we did. And the thing is that we all did it.
Yes.
It's very easy to blame the politicians and say that...
We all did who? Who are you talking about?
We, the people. We, even those of us who didn't avoid taxes or whatever.
Yes.
In a way, in our everyday life, we allowed others to do so. So everybody is responsible, in my opinion. Okay, some people may be 5% responsible, some people might be 95% responsible, but we're all responsible as a society. And if you ask me, the crisis in Greece was first social and then economic. That's my view. Okay. And of course, we saw the results of the crisis in the elections of 2012 and 2015, where we had, in 2012, we had extreme right, neo-Nazi, whatever party, for the first time in Greek parliament, which was unthinkable before in a country which invented the democracy.
Yes.
And then in 2015, we had a government of so-called, or probably genuine communists, who actually, in a 120% capitalistic country and economy, we had, I don't want to characterize. You said to keep it.
You can be as free-spirited as you want.
And they ruined everything in the 5 years that they stayed in power. They remained in power. So you can remember probably some caricatures like Varoufakis or these jokers.
Yes.
I mean, but again, that's my personal...
Varoufakis was meeting world leaders and mocking them.
Of course, because
he was a big gun.
No, listen. For me, the things in life are very simple. When you are okay with yourself and you know your value and you know who you are, you don't provoke anybody because you don't feel like it. There's no reason to do so. You just say what you believe, you do what you do, and that's it. You don't need to make an extra statement. You make your statement through the way you live and with whatever you say. When you see, every time I see people doing this kind of, shows and stuff, they are doing the show because they want to achieve something else. They want to show something more than they are.
What?
And, I don't know, he was supposed to be a rebellion, he was supposed to be a revolutionary and whatever. Really? There is real life and there is the books.
Revenim la Igdlcc îndată ce-ți spun despre sponsorul nostru, Darkom Energy, cei care ne garantează că nu ni se sting luminile din studio, adică nu avem niciodată pene de curent. Panourile fotovoltaice, invertoarele și bateriile sunt inima sistemului nostru energetic și cred cu tărie că sunt investiții importante, dar și rentabile. Cu acest sistem am economisit deja mii de euro la facturi, dar și mai important avem electricitatea garantată, fără fluctuații care ne pot defecta electricele și electronicele. dacă ai în plan să construiești, să renovezi orice fel de clădire, inclusiv industrială, alege o soluție solidă de generare și stocare de energie. Noi colaborăm cu echipa Darkom Energy și îi recomandăm.
I remember you used to have young communists meeting in public squares, plotting, and the police, I went to make a video of one of these groups, and the police guy told me, I'm going to be here for another 5 minutes. Are you going to be here in 5 minutes? Because I wouldn't recommend. And we had to leave because it wasn't safe. I'm talking about Omonia, Sintagma, places like that.
Let me tell you, many times during those 13 years that I am in Romania, and obviously it's my second country. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's my first sometimes.
Okay.
You know, I discuss with people. And many of them, they tell me, we envy you Greeks because you are so passionate. And whenever you want to fight about something, you go out on the streets and you do
Yes.
it. I have a completely different opinion. And
Really?
my answer to them is be careful what you wish for. Because many times what you see in the news is not exactly what happens. Okay, so what happens in Greece is that there are some extreme groups of people who always take the first role in these kind of demonstrations. So
The hooligans.
not necessarily hooligans, but people who are extreme.
We
you
got
know?
this around here. We call them ultras.
Yeah, but in our case, I wouldn't call them ultras, but maybe some of them are. But they are people who are moving to the margin of the society. Okay, and they regard themselves as, I don't know, anarchists, revolutionary,
Yes.
whatever, extremists, whatever. They have a completely different view about societies in general than me anyway. And what happens is that even when there is the right reason for all of us to go out in the streets, people like me and you will never do that. You know why? Because you don't relate with these people who are always the leading pack there. And because of that, what you see in the news 2 countries away is Greeks, let's say, protesting. But in fact, it's not Greeks protesting. It's a very specific group of people who always, in the end, they fight with the police. They destroy things. They set things on fire, garbage cans and cars and this and that.
Until the Greens come.
And if you ask me,
stops.
because I was here also in 2000, when was the demonstrations, you remember in Piazza Victoriei?
Yes.
When was that? In 2016, maybe 17, something like that. Yeah, anyway.
Okay.
If you ask me, this is what I call a civilized demonstration.
Okay.
And I'm saying this to you with no intention whatsoever to kiss your ass and whatever, as Romanians. But I saw there people who went there with their dogs, with their kids, with some funny...
protest.
Yes.
That's a civil protest.
Yes. And thousands of people. And they made the point with no violence, with no cursing, with no... That's how it's supposed to be. Not as we do it in Greece.
Until the gendarmerie came in.
Okay, eventually, but if I remember correctly, the police intervened at the last one when, if I remember, I read in the news that there were some ultras from some whatever who infiltrated and they started doing some stuff. Otherwise, my friends went there, and I know my friends. They are family people, normal people. This is the way to do it. Not the way we do it.
Also in Greece, I talk about the Greens, the gendarmerie. How do you call them?
Police, let's say.
Police. Yeah. But there's the regular police, and then when the Greens come, everything stops.
We call them MAT. It's the MAT. Yeah, I mean, those...
when they come, they roll.
Yeah, but again, always keep in mind the 10 years of the deep the recession.
Okay.
All that created a very negative environment, a very negative atmosphere that you could see in many different facets, in fashion, in politics, because, our life is one thing. Our lives is one thing. It's not only my political view or my business or my friends I'm kind of the same person in all these levels, right? So everything influences us in so many different ways, and you can spot that in a society. In Romania, you didn't have that because in Romania, the Romanian economy is going great for the last many years. And whether we like it or not, and whether we believe that we are idealists and this and that, deep down inside, we're all materialists. And when things are okay and we have enough to spend and to do the things we like, we can leave things aside.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think this is a very important lesson to be learned. And I'm really curious about what you've learned from the Greek experience. Because, again, I'm more than grateful for everything that Greece stands for. The more I read, the more I understand we are more Greek than anything else in terms of philosophy, democracy. The human civilization, the Western civilization is Greek-born. We can agree to that. But Greek has always been a powerhouse, economic powerhouse, a knowledge powerhouse, a development powerhouse. It's been great for many, many years. Some of the world's richest people were there for a long time. And then something happened. So you can't have too much of a good thing, like we say. So I was looking at how such a great civilization, it's not only a country, Greece is a civilization per se. And it's been going on so well for so long. Democracy was always thriving there. And then something happened. And I'm of course, we are always on the lookout for what could happen. What's the worst that could happen? And for Greece, I think that was the moment when you saw that the people from the fringes, like you call them from the extremes, came into the center.
But isn't this the case everywhere?
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
It's not a Greek thing, and
but you are the avant-garde. You saw you had that way earlier than the Americans in 2016.
All the changes follow. In transformational periods, they follow problematic. I mean, it's like people. For me and you to decide to transform. Usually, it might take a crisis.
Of course,
something. So.
Like our teacher, Mr. Borțun, he's a very good philosopher. He says people only change when they get smacked in the face.
Yeah. In my opinion, it's this, or when there is a strong influence by somebody else. Okay, but usually it's the
metaphor. It's a metaphor of the smack in the face.
Yes, exactly. So when that happened, I think it was a normal bounce back from 20 continuous years of prosperity, because the Greek economy had 20 amazing years of prosperity, 1990 until 2010. And in there, we had the Olympic Games. We had so many different, very good, very positive incidents. The market was growing, the stock exchange market, etc., etc. So, the universal rule is that whatever goes up goes down. And
really?
Vice versa. If you combine this with the fact that we Greeks as people, we can be, if you look at our history chart, if there is a chart, we go from Zenith to Nadir, and Zenith to Nadir. I mean, because we're over enthusiastic, that's why we have managed in our history to do things which at the beginning seemed impossible, like delaying the Germans. Like kicking out the Italians in 1940 when they declared war to us. We were a small country of 7 million people, right? Then I don't know if you know that, but Greece is one of the top countries in casualties during the Second World War, because we really fought back, and there was a resistance, and there was so going back from the 300 of in Thermopylae. To our modern history, we are doing the impossible. We're capable to do the impossible.
Come on, let's go back even to the siege of Syracuse.
Yeah, I mean, if you look back, we have a very long history that we're very proud of, and which we are taught in school. And in my opinion, it's a very, very important thing for our DNA, because it creates the attitude. It creates creates something, gives you a shield, when you need it. And a sense of pride, of course. But on the other hand, at the same time,
it makes you lazy.
Not necessarily lazy, but
comfortable.
It may make you cocky. It may make you feel that you are the chosen one, and we Greeks are, the center of everything. No, we're not. I mean, we are just a small country of 12 million.
Yes, you are, but still.
Yeah, okay. Again, it depends on the angle from which you see it. I believe in general in the good and in the good of people, So wherever I have traveled, and I've been to so many countries and done business, and, it's a lot up to us what we choose to see.
Yeah, I know you're all about good vibes only.
No,
I've
not
seen your
necessarily.
interviews. You're very positive. I'm forcing you a little bit into this tension mode because I need your perspective. You're one of the guys that has seen a lot. Mm-hmm. You're here on your own volition. Nobody's forcing you to be here. And you're also one of the, let's say, a Romanian fan, a fan of Romania, let's say. But we're gonna get gonna get there. I still want to keep you in this tension mode for a little while because you've told me that Greece had a window of prosperity of around 20 years.
Actually, it wasn't 20 years is not a window; it's a huge door.
It's a generation.
Yeah. It's a generation, exactly.
Exactly. And I was reading about this, and history also happens in generations. Mm-hmm. So there's 4 turning points. And it seems like we are going through the fourth turning, like one of the scientists that I follow, Neil Hout, talks about. The fourth turning is about the unraveling of the society. Mm-hmm. And again, you're ahead of the curve because you're Greek.
Of course.
But I'm afraid that we are catching up. Because I'm looking back, when I came to Bucharest, it was exactly on the clock, let's say, 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And since 2003, Romania has been booming. Mm-hmm. Okay? True. It has its ups and downs, but since 2003, my income has always increased. Mm-hmm. And businesses have been growing and infrastructure has been booming. And also the city is sprawling. Mm-hmm. So I'm going through streets where it was fields left and right. And now I'm looking, there's neighborhoods, mm-hmm. there's entire settlements of people. So should we pay attention to your history, your recent history? What do you see about the present time in Romania? Because going beyond good vibes only, I'm a little afraid of the future.
Obviously, I'm a natural-born positivist. I don't know how to call it, optimist, Okay. However, I'm at the same time very realistic. And it's not necessarily about good vibes only and stuff like that. I believe that there is one main thing that societies need to take care of, and then everything else is taken care of by itself, and this is education. When the education works and societies produce educated citizens, they will take care of everything. They will vote for the right people, they will make the right choices. Even the wrong choices that they will make, they will be able to analyze them and learn from the mistakes, because you don't learn from failure, as many say. You learn from thinking about what happened. Okay, so then, but everything is, in my opinion, begins with education. And if you ask me, one big issue which I see in Romania is education itself.
What do you see going on wrong around the education?
Numbers are not very encouraging, in terms of those people who are characterized as
analphabets,
functional analphabets and stuff like that.
42%.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and it so happened that when I met somebody, then I only realized what that really is. And these people are the people that will hire us. We will hire them. They are our clients. We might be their clients. I mean, this is where the focus should be.
But do you see stupid people when you work?
No, it's not about stupidity. Nobody is retarded. It's not like it's...
I'm not talking about retardedness. I'm talking about people that haven't gone enough to school, don't know how to read properly,
but listen,
and understand what they're reading. This is analphabetism.
George, it's not about that. I've met in my life many analphabet people who made great things in their lives.
Okay.
Just by finishing elementary school, because...
So what's wrong with analphabetism?
There is one other thing which comes and supplements academic education, and that is social education. Okay. And social education gives you the manners, gives you the drive, gives you the discipline, gives you many things. Because imagine, you may have the Harvard graduate. Is that enough for somebody to call them successful in life?
Today, no.
Academically, yes, they are super successful.
No, they are not anymore. It just came out that Harvard, if you have a Harvard diploma, it's not a guarantee you'll be prosperous.
Of course it's not, but I believe that people like me and you we were not expecting for this to come out as news. In my opinion, nothing is a guarantee. If tomorrow I leave to my son, 10 million euros, of course that's 100 million euros. Is that a guarantee that he will be happy? No, because it's up to him to be happy. It's not about the money. It's not about the diploma. It's about us as people. If we fix us, if we're okay with us, then we can handle everything. And recently, to give you an example, we had an amazing discussion in the club, and the question was to leave or not to leave wealth to your kids. Very, an amazing discussion topic with no right or wrong answer. So everybody, have different views on it and everything. And if you ask me what was left with me after 2 hours of discussion, it is one thing that one of our members said, and he said, if I manage to help my kid have a purpose in life, it doesn't matter if I leave them money or not. And this is the heart of the issue, in all societies.
Purpose.
The purpose. If we are okay inside us and we know what we want in this life, then everything else is a bonus, it's a material thing, it's outside,
Okay. Are you going to leave an inheritance to
To be honest with you, I don't have an answer. I mean, really, that's why I said at the beginning, if you ask me, I'm more prone not to.
I'm hearing a lot about this, more and more wealthy people, not necessarily rich. I don't know who's rich anymore. There's some rich, very rich people, but people that really have, let's say, changed their own lives during their own lives by working, making a business, making something good for the society and for their business, are thinking long and hard about whether or not they should leave an inheritance, give a handout to an offspring, take this money, do something with your life.
Again, it shouldn't be about that. It should be about, let me help you find your purpose and then see what you want to do with the money or with whatever. We tend to oversimplify things. People in general, we do that. I mean, no matter the nationality, it's human nature. And by oversimplifying things, it's simpler to say to somebody, take 10 euros than sit down, discuss, send them to another school, push them to read a book. One is a complicated process. The other process is very simple. I reach out to my pocket, take out whatever money, I give it to you, and that's it. And we believe that this is enough. Or we believe that sending our kids to an expensive private school or the best, public school like you have here in Romania is enough. No, it's not enough.
And we see that because most of the young people these days lack purpose. And they don't lack purpose necessarily of the school system because sometimes, or most of the time, the parents are missing.
I can challenge that. My parents were missing too. Okay. Both of my parents, they were working, starting with 7 o'clock in the morning, and they would come back at 5, 6.
Yeah, but they are at home in the evening. There's a lot of Romanian kids that grow up without parents because their parents are abroad.
Okay, yes, that's another story, and I cannot have an opinion on that because that's a very special situation.
Okay.
However, I have to say I've spent a lot of time with my grandmother. Okay. She was the one who was keeping me, while my parents were working. You can still have quality time whenever you are there. And I can tell you this because I'm out of Athens Monday to Thursday, Friday. So actually, I see my family between Thursday or Friday until Sunday. For the last 13 years.
You commute to Athens in the weekend?
I'm commuting for the last 13 years.
No.
If you need any miles from Aegean, I'm the guy. I can give you as many miles as you want.
Oh my God.
Yes. So, and I can tell you that...
You're regular, everybody knows you there.
Of course. I can fly the plane. I mean, I think if need be, I can fly the plane. So what I can tell you is that when you want to do something, you do it. We can find many excuses, and especially smart people can find very good excuses, Somebody said recently.
Of course. That's a good one.
If we want to do it right, we can do it right. Even 2 days a week or 3 days a week. But I fix my life in a way so that, the time that I have to give to my family, I will give it no matter what. So, and the things that I can discuss today with my son following this experience of mine in Romania, which has been life-changing for me, are things that I wouldn't be able to know, to tell him, if I wouldn't have that. So, you always win something, you lose something. That's life.
What's your son's age? Can you tell me?
He's 15, yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're in a tough spot.
Not necessarily. I mean...
You are.
No, listen, not at all. I would like him to be a bit more, crazy.
Greek.
Yeah, a little bit more crazy. I don't know. I think there is a whole hype around, that age and whatever. What I'm noticing is that there are many stories which are going around, and they make us believe that most kids are like that. The truth is that, thank God, most kids are not like that. It's just that for a story to be circulated, it needs to be spicy.
Of course.
A boring story will never go from somebody to somebody else. Okay, every age has its challenges. I think as a parent, my job is to, not to teach, but is to do. I believe that kids observe us and they learn by looking at us, not necessarily by what we say. And sometimes action speaks louder than words. And there lies the difficulty, because when you are setting an example for somebody else, and that goes also in business, for your people, many times you cannot just cut a corner, although you could have, Why? Because you know that people are watching and you want to give them the right example.
Yes.
And I think it's a beautiful ride. Now with my wife, we're discussing that maybe in 2.5 years, he will leave the house because he will go somewhere to study. And that's a new level for all of us, a new stage for all of us.
Are you satisfied with his education so far?
Yeah.
The education or the social education you've been talking about?
I could say both.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, look, I also, at the same time, I have to say that we have to respect individuality, Not everybody is like us. Actually, nobody is like us.
Yes.
And we shouldn't be reflecting to our kids our expectations or our broken dreams or whatever.
They need to live their own lives.
Exactly.
And something very hard to learn and very, very difficult to accept is that they are different people.
Yep.
They are not an extension of us.
Yep.
They will never be. And that's a good thing.
That's a great thing, actually. And one thing it's worth saying here is that I had a discussion with him a few weeks ago, and one of the things I told him is that when the time will come for you to choose where you want to go and study, if you decide to go abroad, and especially where to stay and work after you finish your studies, I want you to promise me that you will not think of me. I don't want you to think of me as an anchor,
Don't mind this. I'm looking at these kids and they are very, very self-aware.
Great. Okay. Let him go wherever. I told him, go to Alaska. I like traveling. I love traveling. Actually, I will be coming to Alaska to see you.
You got miles.
Yeah, I mean,
So you're a very kind person. You're a very positive person. But still, your input is very valuable to us. You come from a sister culture, let's say a mother-sister culture. We are more Greek than we would like to admit, because of you are imbued in the Greek culture for millennia. And you have, let's say, a kind watch on everything happening here. And you've been saying that education is an issue. Mm-hmm. You've been talking about social education because people lack the drive and, let's say, the purpose in their lives. And it happens at all levels, from, let's say, teenagers to grown-ups, to even seniors these days.
May I interrupt you?
Yes, please.
I don't believe necessarily that most of the people lack a purpose or something. I believe that we are a generation of older people like me and kids, and we are a society which is undergoing through a major change, a major transition. And we have a problem or a difficulty to manage this transition. And I don't believe we are the first ones in the history of humanity. I mean, other people like us had this in similar situations. So imagine that I'm talking to my son and my son hasn't ever used a fixed line, a phone, or he asks me how life was without internet and mobile phones and stuff like that. And it's normal because all these changes and all this transparency that social media has brought, I mean, think about it. What do people say in politics? They say we lack leaders. There are no leaders. It's very difficult to have leaders when their lives are so transparent, because what is leadership? Leadership has also a very important, a very serious component of myth.
Yes.
That you build around the leader, right?
You need a legend to make a leader.
When a leader is so transparent, and I remind you that not recently, but like 10 years ago, I don't remember when was that, J.W. Bush almost choked on a pretzel. You remember this story?
Not really.
Yeah, anyway, the guy almost, the whole humanity, the whole planet knew several minutes right after it happened.
And they also knew when he said internets on the internet.
So no matter, I'm not referring to the quality of the person per se, the specific person. Take Winston Churchill. Where Winston Churchill would be with social media when everybody would know that he would wake up in the morning and he would have half a bottle of cognac or I don't know what, 2 cigars, and then he would go to work.
He would do 10 tweets and he would be worse than Trump.
We are challenged with a completely new reality in so many ways.
It's true.
And we should cut ourselves some slack that it's okay that we don't know how to deal with it all the time, every time. We will find, that's why humanity has survived all these centuries, because we always find a way, and systems, they self-regulate. And what I'm saying is, let's not be so harsh on ourselves.
But about our leaders, I'm gonna turn you back to the leaders. Do you think it's a good idea that they go up on an ivory tower? Because from what you're talking, it seems like our president is listening. So he went up into the ivory tower, doesn't give interviews, doesn't come up just only once in a while, waves a hand and goes back in.
I don't follow politics in the country.
He's building a legend or a myth or I don't know, something.
I don't know really, because honestly, I as I told you at the beginning, I don't follow the news.
But is there a middle ground?
But we can talk about leadership in general. And, business leadership is something I can really talk about because of our members. Every leader has their own style. You have an extrovert leader, an introvert leader, a strong leader, a more participative one. Someone believes in autonomy. Some other believes in, order and charts and stuff like that. I believe it's mostly a matter of the person and the character that we all carry with us. So I don't think we should discuss whether something is right or wrong. I think maybe the approach is, if it would have been me, I would be doing it differently. But then again, it's very easy when we are out of the game to have an opinion about something,
Yeah, I'm just arguing for a minimal transparency.
Maybe your style would be like that. Maybe my style would be like that. But I always believe that a leader should stand out. Okay, I'm not saying to be distant. I'm not saying to be, but a leader must stand out because that's why she is the leader.
And they need to give the big group some purpose that they can follow and catalyze the society and have the people working on the same goal.
I'm all for that, really. I believe that...
what is our goal? I don't know.
I think we all share individual goals. There is there might be a universal one, but...
We got a fable from Aesop that talks about the critters that were pulling on all sides. Everybody has their own individual purposes. Yeah, but we are all pulling on all sides. We are not pulling forward.
Yeah.
And we need to look as quick as possible, in my opinion, and where is forward? And how do we get there? Because the critters now are pulling everywhere else, not forward.
Yeah, but maybe we're asking the way the political system is set. What you just described is a very difficult task, and maybe sometimes impossible. And why am I saying this? Is because whenever you decide as a leader to change something and to catalyze change, there will be pain.
Of course, this is why we chose you.
And there will be casualties. And there will be people who will find themselves not able to react to the new situation.
Give us purpose, leader.
Yes. However, the pain will be there.
Okay.
And when you are a politician and you expect to be re-elected 4 years later, you have to be very cautious as to the amount of pain you give,
You did that. You made democracy. How do we fix it?
Yeah, but listen, George.
Let's fix it.
George, let me remind you that when the Greek democracy in ancient Greece was, let's say, founded, not everybody was voting.
Women weren't.
People
Slaves
who didn't,
weren't.
bravo, other people who didn't have a stake didn't. So yeah, we called it democracy, and it was a democracy. But if you look back in our history, you will see that the thriving periods of the Athenian society were periods where one was ruling. Okay, so the only leader in the modern times that I have heard not caring as to whether she would get re-elected was Margaret Thatcher, who at some point told her cabinet that I don't care if we get re-elected in 4 years, but I was elected to do A, B, C, and D. And whoever doesn't believe we can do this...
And she inflicted some serious pain on the British.
Yeah, but you know what? Again, we can have different opinions about Thatcher or whomever. She did, but at the same time, many of the things that England enjoyed after her tenure was because of that pain.
Of course.
And it's like me wanting to get fit. If I want to get fit, I have to make sure that I wake up every morning at 7 o'clock, go to the gym, spend there 1.5 hours, mind my eating, which means I push myself not to have my favorite souvlaki, pizza, whatever. You know, so everything, when you want to do extraordinary things, you have to go extraordinary ways.
And you cannot train for a month. You need to train for years before you reach your goals.
And it is what it is. Nothing can work. Nothing can happen without the right amount of work.
I think this is why some Romanians still, let's say, fantasize about monarchy. Because we've had our, let's say, best and prosperous years of growth during monarchy. I've been looking at some, let's say, infographics, some charts, very, very old, more than 100 years, something like this, showing how the economy was booming during the first kings we had, during Ferdinand and Charles, Carol. And they introduced some, let's say, mechanization in agriculture, some railroads and stuff like that. And the economy is actually booming because everybody got behind a common purpose and they were pulling forward, and the leader was telling them where they need to go. Because that leader had a vision.
Yeah, but this is the danger with monarchy. If you have an enlightened monarch, then you are very lucky in your lifetime, and it's great. If the one who will come after is not enlightened enough, you have to live with him or with her. You know, and that's a big problem with monarchy, I guess. But does it really matter if it's a monarch or it's a prime minister or whomever? As long as they are an enlightened person who loves the country and the people and takes them forward. I mean, in my opinion, okay, yeah, it's the system that's different, but again, everything begins and ends with us. Us, the voters, us, the leaders, us, the whatever, you know, the citizens, you call it whatever you want. So I think it's a more holistic...
But let me recap. So we got the enlightened leader. So again, like you said, you can be lucky or not. You can have a stupid king. If he's dumb, you're going to have a generation of, let's say, poor people. But if he's enlightened, everybody's going to work towards that goal, let's say. Like the British had their queen for a very long time, and it was double thumbs up. But then you have democracy in the middle, and then you have the anarchists that are trying to say, no, we don't need any kind of leader. Let everybody do their own thing. And Greece has been struggling through all these three. Where are you now?
I think that now, since a few years, we are back to normality, at least what I call normality.
What is normal?
Which is an economy that works normal. Of course, we shouldn't be forgetting that the problems of the Greek economy are not fixed. Of course, I mean, it takes more than 4 or 5 years of prosperity of growth to overcome all that. We have a government which I believe is on the right direction. It's a pro-business government. They are trying to do some major interventions in terms of the digitalization of the country and to help the country go to the next level and not being left behind. And at least they listen. They're not, no, because it's against our ideology and whatever crap like that, as it was with the previous government. There is a long way to go. There are many things that can be fixed. We have to stay positive, stay there, help as much as we can, each and every one of us. But again, now I could be talking about any other country. It's not about. It's not about Greece. It's not about Romania. It's about a community. It's about a society. It's about that we call a country, and that is the best thing we can do.
I'm trying to learn from your experience because again, Greece is ahead of the curve in many ways. It's not ahead of the curve economically at this time, but in terms of ideology, I think you're ahead. I think you're seeing the future. You've been testing the limits of human society and the way humans work. And you've seen the ups and downs. And again, 20 years of prosperity and then a decade of, let's say, hard times. And now you're slowly bouncing up. Mm-hmm. Do I get it right?
Yes, but look again what is happening, right? Suddenly you have the war in Ukraine. Yes. And then you have the things that are happening in Gaza and with Israel.
Across the pond from you.
And then you have the COVID. And then you have, we live in times where if now there is a breaking news that a comet fell somewhere and some aliens got out of the comet and started walking around Madison Square Garden. No. We will take it. We will care, but we will say, okay. Fine. Okay, hello, welcome. We've been expecting you. Everything else has happened. So what I'm saying is, we are living in times. I remember my father My father he's 81 right now. He has been very influential to me. Thank you. And an orphan since he was 10, has worked really hard in his life, made something. And he was telling me up until a few years ago, he was saying, your generation, you guys have it, we went through war, we went through this, through that, blah, blah, blah. Now he cannot say anything anymore. We've gone through amazing, unbelievable
pandemics.
Come on, and okay, it is what it is. Life, we take, I think, again, going back to the inside, the more we read, the more we surround ourselves with the right people, good people, better people than us, the more we take the right steps, the more ready we are to accept what is happening, take life as it is, and extract the best out of it. I have this belief that life is happening to all of us, and the same life is happening to all of us. So you might win the lottery, I might win the lottery. We may never meet in our lives, but we live in the same country. Okay. That very same incident can be something that will make your life much better and make my life much worse. Why? Because of the way we were taught or we chose to deal with it.
Yes.
The same goes for a big love, a very intense love, love affair. The same goes for anything that we can call extreme, both negative and positive, because winning the lottery is a positive extreme.
For 6 months.
Whatever. Maybe for me, but maybe for you, it changes for the better your life forever.
Statistically, after 6 months, all lottery winners are just as unhappy as before.
Why? Because nobody taught them. Our society didn't teach them how to deal with extreme situations, how to deal with extreme emotions, how to make a decision about something. Mm-hmm. It's okay not to know something.
Yes.
But we all were brought up in a society that was saying, no, it's wrong. You have to pretend like you know everything. But it's impossible. No. It's weakness if you show that you don't know. You tell people, sorry, I cannot tell you anything about this thing. I'm not aware of this. I don't have the information. And they say, okay, yeah, whatever. I'm going to the next one. Who knows? Probably they will butcher them, but they pretend they know.
Yes.
So this is going back to the education thing. When I say education, I don't necessarily mean physics, geography, and chemistry. I also mean this kind of education. Saying no. Saying managing your emotions, making right decisions, accepting failure, analyzing failure and learning from it.
But should we celebrate failure? I see a lot of events celebrating failure these days.
I
love failure. I'm sorry, but still, come on, I don't love failure.
I
fucking hate failure.
I have been a speaker to that event, by the way, in one of the editions.
I appreciate the initiative, but I fucking hate failure.
Look, if you ask me my view on that, and this is what I said, is exactly what I said before. Failure is okay as long as we learn from it. Otherwise,
don't embrace it.
I mean, yeah, it's not like, okay, let's all fail together and have fun about it, No, but let's learn something about that.
Of course.
And
no, I'm just pushing on this subject because I think it's funny. And it's important that we accept failure and we learn from it, like you said. Again, what do you think we should learn from these troubling times? Because they're not over yet. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure the best is yet to come. I'm looking at the worst.
We have to do the same thing that we have to do during good times. We just need to be there, be present, observe and learn from everything that's happening around us. I think that this is the best and the most of what we can do. And of course, influence as much as we can positively through our employees, through our friends, through our society, through our community, neighborhood, whatever. I don't think people should have a different approach when the times are good or when the time is bad. In fact, I believe that when times are bad and tough, we must be more compassionate to each other. We must be closer to each other, helping more as much as we can. At the same time, not just helping, but teaching people how to help themselves. It's like that fish story that fisherman taught somebody how to fish, not giving them fish every day. So,
was it Dionysus or Jesus?
But I don't know, to be honest with you. Yeah. You caught me here. I'm 52 years old, and I recently came to a conclusion about life, and I believe that the greatest art in this life is to be able to observe it.
You're becoming a stoic.
No, I don't. Maybe hopefully. I mean, yeah. Thank you for the compliment. I wish, but what I'm saying is, the more we think of things, the more we can analyze what is happening, and the more we can deal with the unexpected that is coming. Mm-hmm. And even if that seems to become a new normal, as the situation is today, because I think we are past an incident, we are at a new normal. We operate. Yes. Okay, if we are prepared, then we can deal with it. I want to remind you that during the pandemic, at the beginning, we all thought, okay, that's it. I don't know, my business will close. Who knows what's going to happen, But if we ask ourselves 2 years after the pandemic, I hear many people saying, one good thing was that I started walking with my family and some other friends. Another good thing was that I put my life in a different perspective. Another good thing, okay. Was it a good thing after all? No, it was a tough thing. But if people have the ability to observe life and extract what is good for them, then there's always something good in everything, mm-hmm. and something we can learn. And then that makes you a bit stronger. It's like gym. One more day at the gym. So tomorrow you are stronger, and one more day at the gym. And then you read nice books. You hang out with good people, great people who are better than you, and they teach you things, and they give you books to read, and they...
Because you become your in-group.
Yes. If you ask me, George, reading is one of my favorite things. If I had to choose one book, only one book to give to my son, I would give him a book called Connected. It's from a Greek-American author who's a professor in MIT University. And him and his co-author, they proved beyond any doubt through anthropological experiments that we become the average of the 5 people that we have next to us.
Yes.
And for me, this is the most important. I mean, if there's one learning, don't do anything else. Just stay with people who are the right people.
Stay with people that you want to become.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, not necessarily super rich or whatever, but people that you admire for some reason.
Of course.
For something, because they know things, because they have an open mind, because, I don't know, whatever.
Yes.
Stick to them, and they will lead you to a better path, to a better something, all the time.
To a better you.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been reading some biographies lately, and I've been reading about people that are working with some very hard people. Some of the hardest people that you know of are very, very hard dictators, let's say, in their businesses. And of course, it doesn't resonate well with our current culture, but still they get, like they say, slavery gets shit done. I do not agree, but the pyramids, but rockets, but the smartphone and everything else, it's made through intense effort from very committed people that haven't gone to work for the pay, have gone to work for a purpose. Again, we come back to leadership, and then take me to your leader, because I want to learn if that leader has a purpose. Come on, take us somewhere. Take us out of the woods. Split the waters. Take us to safety. And all that. All these legends that we've been growing up with turn out to be right.
But you see, we're again talking about that pain that we referred to before in the discussion, you know? For politicians, the same thing. Some people suffered for the iPhone to come out or the whatever, you know, whichever product. There is pain there. And we have to be ready and embrace the pain.
I'm reading individual stories of people that were, let's say, harmed. They had there was no reason whatsoever for them to be made guilty for, let's say, something that went wrong. And they were let go just because the leader had a whim, had a bad day. And sometimes these leaders don't even remember that they fired one of their best engineers. They just had a reason that day. They woke up on the other side of the bed. And that happens.
Allow me here not to have an opinion.
I don't have an opinion. I'm just observing.
I will tell you why. Many times we have opinions about people who have done extraordinary things.
Yes.
What we forget is that to do something extraordinary, you have to be, that means you are an extraordinary person yourself, which means you're not like me who am a normal mortal out there.
Yes.
It is impossible for me to enter the psychology of somebody who is extraordinary.
Let's agree that extraordinary might mean psychopathic.
But isn't it? In order to be extraordinary to something, you have to be fixated. You have to be monomaniac. You have to be maybe a psychopath. Or in a psychopathic way to love what you're doing. And that's why you stick to it 20 hours out of the 24.
Yeah, but that doesn't resonate well. That doesn't resonate well necessarily with our current culture where everything is good vibes only. Let's not hurt feelings. Words matter. No, they don't. No, actions matter. Come on, can we agree at least on this? Because words don't mean a thing.
Look, I'm not. If you're looking to interview, what's the word?
You're a good guy. I'm just provoking you.
No, of course. Please bring it on. No problem. I'm not into political correctness. Okay, and I believe that unfortunately, one of the reasons why there are no good comedies anymore.
Yes.
Is because nobody can say anything, is allowed to say anything about anybody else.
Of course.
Okay, so I remember when I put on my glasses because, you know, I was wearing glasses when I was at school. And of course, some other kids, they called me Four Eyes and this and that, you know. It was okay. I mean, you know, It didn't mark me in my life or whatever.
Of course.
Okay, so.
Comedians are now having big issues with people that are smuggling smartphones inside the event venue to take videos of them during their stand-up.
To catch them saying something which is not, you know.
There was this guy the other day that said, I'm paying $10,000 every show just to keep your phones on in a locker, and you smuggle a smartphone in, fuck you, get the fuck out. And they escorted the guy out because comedians are afraid of their audience.
I think that we went to the other extreme. Of course,
comedians afraid of the audience.
Yes, it's one of those changes and those phenomena that we discussed before, and of course, technology has, empowered, magnified all these things because now it's easy to record somebody and post it and immediately to spread it out to millions of people. Societies do that; they go from one extreme to the other, and in the meantime, there is a period where everything is okay. I think that right now we are as a global society, I'm saying, we are at that, in my opinion, negative extreme. And by negative extreme, I'm not saying that people should bully others or talk shit about other people. No, of course not. What I'm saying is, there is one thing that's called respect. And respect means I respect you no matter what is your nationality, your age, your height, your weight, your sexual orientation.
Yes.
Okay, I respect it. It's fine. And it's not for me or for you or for somebody to be, thinking twice before saying something just to make sure that I will not be offended because they called me chubby. If I am chubby, I am chubby. I mean, I should get a diet or something. I mean,
I don't want to go there because I've been there and I've said some stupid things. I'm not trying to defend. I don't know if you know about my cancel culture happening the other. No, I've called some people that are overweight, and I said I don't like that, and it was a bad thing. It's not up to me to say if some people don't look good or not. Even though if that would be my opinion on a private side, you shouldn't say that in public. I'm learning things. So we are learning about what we can say in public and what not, because again, political correctness and cancel culture. And also people are getting more and more easily offended by words because there is not an actual violence happening. There's not enough actual physical violence between people. People are hurting each other through social media or by proxy. We don't get face to face. Men, when they had an issue, let's go outside and settle this. They settled that and then they went and had a beer. Now, everybody's settling a score through digital devices, through a keyboard or something like this. And again, the tension is there because we are not seeing eye to eye. What we're having here is, I don't know, it's an exception. Most people cannot have a conversation without their phones on the table.
This is one of the things that makes me very proud about our club, our community.
Are you locking phones?
We are, no, we're not. We don't. But, there is a free flow of discussion on so many different levels. I mean, we had discussions and, of course, opposite opinions about vaccination. There were people who didn't believe in it, other people who were very into vaccination. We never fought.
You didn't?
No, we didn't. We just heard each other and in a nice and funny way sometimes, but we never offended each other.
You didn't kick out any of the unvaccinated?
No, of course not. No, because it's, people have a value which is not determined by one of the things that they believe or they do. It's determined, it's a component, it's one thing that comes out of everything they are. And nobody can reject somebody just because we disagree in, I don't know, the party we will vote for or the team we support, in football. Okay, the thing is to accept people with your differences and learn from them maybe, and they can teach you something. I would never become an anti-vaccination, person. But, I have great friends, very, very good people, amazing people, actually, who didn't vaccinate. Okay, it was their choice. I heard their arguments. They heard mine. Okay, and, we left the table normal. I mean, we didn't have to fight. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
you both survived. That's the most important thing.
We didn't, one of the things I'm really proud is that we have managed to create an environment which is it's a safe place. Okay. And people in there they know they can share opinions, no matter what that is. Okay. They can share ideas as long as they respect each other. For me, in my life in general, but also in the club, I tell everybody we have only one rule. The rule is respect. We respect in everything. We respect the speaker, then we can demand the speaker to respect us. We respect our fellow members, then we can demand the respect. And
but respect changes.
I don't think so.
In universities, if the students do not agree with what the teacher is saying, they can get them cancelled.
What do you mean cancelled? Sorry, because I'm not. You have to help me catch up with the. What do you mean
with the latest trend?
Yeah.
In the US, most of the teachers are afraid of their own students because if they don't like what they're hearing, they can write to the board of directors, to the administration, and say, we don't like the ideas that this teacher is talking about. That slavery was let's say a functioning system at that time, or some leader that had slaves or has also done good things. There's good people on both sides and stuff like that. Seems stuff that is, let's say, literally accurate, that becomes a culture war. And then they go after those teachers, after those, let's say, known people, and they try to get them cancelled. And teachers have been taken out of their job or self-censor just to make sure they do not offend feelings with words.
I see one
How
problem.
do you handle respect in there?
I see one problem and one great opportunity in what you're saying, because I'm a businessman and I see opportunities. So the problem is that the institutions themselves, universities, schools, whatever, they should have a very clear vision, a very clear scope, a very clear mission statement. And part of that mission statement is that we stand for this and this and that. If what the teacher or my employee is saying, which might offend some of my clients or my members or my students, then if I stand by it, then what I can tell them, it's a free country, guys. You can drop out of that university and there's another university down the street that probably reflects more your beliefs.
Okay.
Because this is what I believe. In this company, this is what we believe.
And this is what happens. There is a new breed of universities coming out.
Fine, fantastic.
But let's go back to
free
your
market.
clubs. Let's go to your organization. How do you draw the line where respect meets reality?
Okay, before I answer you this, let me tell you about the opportunity. If Romania is a country which is not so much, let's say, into this political correctness, and it's not, and if you ask me, that's
not yet.
Okay, but so right now we are not. And if you ask me, that's a great thing, my opinion, my personal opinion. Why don't we attract all those professors who are kicked out of those universities and give them the stand here so that they can come and educate us?
I'm not sure we'll be able to, because look at what happened to this the mayor of Câmpulung, Elena Lasconi. She just came out and said she voted for, let's say, we had this referenda for, let's say, same-sex marriage or different sex marriage. And she said she voted against same-sex marriage. And that was considered by her own party to be against their values. And she was kicked out of the elections for the European Parliament.
What does that tell us as voters? I mean, I don't even know what is the party, but you know what it tells me if I would be, let's say, a voter of that party, that this party doesn't respect the individuality of its members or its politicians.
Their opinions, okay.
Of course, because everybody can have, that's what democracy is. Democracy is being able to have an opinion and not being prosecuted for it.
Yeah, but she got cancelled.
Exactly. Listen.
On words, on opinions.
I understand. But the question here is, are we putting too much emphasis on what anybody can say on
we didn't
on social
get
media?
her a chance to be voted or not by the voters. We got her kicked out of the list before that.
She was at the wrong party.
And now the other guys, our guys, are trying to get her in.
Okay, again, I told you, I don't even know the names. I don't know the names of the parties.
I know. I'm not trying to pull you into politics.
No. But honestly, if I would have an opinion, I would have told you. I have no problem. But it's just that I don't follow at all. So the more people who will find themselves out of place from the traditional political system, in every country that is, one day they will become so many that they will form something new.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet, but we are getting there.
Okay.
You know, probably you know all these discussions about, you know, what is the role of democracy today and in a completely different world. Yes, I also believe that democracy as a principle is great. We need to adjust it more to the modern societies. I believe that. I don't know how. If I knew, I would have written a book. But what I'm saying is,
okay.
You know, yes.
If you find a good one, let me know.
Democracy is like anything else in life. It needs to be evolved. Everything in life needs to evolve.
The problem with democracy these days is that it gives the certain amount of, let's say, voting rights to everyone. That's a very good thing. But it gives a disproportionate impact to the voices on the extreme, because the center is almost silent.
Okay.
Everybody in the center that is civilized, they go about their own lives, they do their work. They don't shout in the public square. Mm-hmm. And then the guys from the fringes that have different opinions become very loud. And everybody's looking at them and they come into the center and then they take over. This is that's what's the danger I'm seeing.
I'm not sure that they take over. Because real life is
really
always
trying.
Okay, but real life is always there to prove us wrong. I want to tell you that if you would, we had elections in Greece this summer.
Okay.
If you would have been there, you would have the same opinion about whomever is against the government. Okay. So you would say that the government, it's so and so chances if they get re-elected. You know what happened? They got 40.5%, and the opposition that had created all this noise around it got 17. They got diluted. I mean, they don't exist anymore.
Greeks are still smart.
You know, no, that means that real life always catches up with us. And when we are to make a very important decision, we will make it based on real life. Both me, you, everybody. So yes, there is a lot of noise.
How do we get a grip on real life? Because people are watching so much TV that they get brainwashed by fringe ideas these days. Have you seen the numbers for Romania for the next elections? Or the voting intentions is for some fringe let's say, fringe ideas coming from the extreme into the center, and now, let's say, the intention to vote is rising so fast for some ideas that were alien to us a few years back.
Yeah, but sometimes, and again we go to the pain period, there might be the need for a pain period when all these people believe
Sotiris,
that...
we don't need to go through that pain.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to.
We had communism, we had enough, we need some prosperity.
I know, listen, again, starting between 2015 and 2019, we had the government in Greece, I'm saying again, in Greece.
Of communists.
Okay, yeah, of people called communists. When I was telling my Romanian friends that we have a communist government, they were saying, are you guys stupid or something? I mean, we had communists so many years and, okay, again, you know what is the good thing of those 5 years? Because many, many bad things happened, in my opinion.
It reminded the Greeks to be Greeks.
No, didn't remind them. It showed them that what they perceived for a little while as a valuable and solid alternative actually was a mumbo-jumbo thing. Did it have to take 5 years of whatever happened for us to know that? Sometimes it does.
People don't learn from history.
Okay, but if we would learn from history, we would all be like Dalai Lamas, and we would be able to elevate ourselves learning from history. I mean, we are experiential creatures. Kids learn how to walk because they fall. But we learn because something happened. We learn to love because we got heartbroken. I mean,
Yeah.
That's what it is. And then, if you ask me, the great, how can I say, not real, but the great idealistic question there is one life enough? If I need 5 or 10 years to learn something, that's another question, if you ask me. Is one life enough? Because I believe that it's not me, myself,
I'm looking at you and I'm seeing you, you are only halfway there. You got a long life ahead of you.
I hope so. I mean, I hope you can read the future and you know something I don't. I hope so.
I know there's some Greeks that in Icaria.
In Icaria, yeah.
They live well beyond 100 years. So I think you can get there. You're a healthy guy.
Look, it's thank you very much. I take it as
I hope you are so healthy as you look.
Of course. What I'm saying is, of course, obviously I would like to live as long as I can and at the same time as good as I can, which means, it's great to be 90 or it's great to be 81 like my father. And still my father is, he walks, he's healthy. My mother, she's 78. She's more or less healthy. I mean, I would like to reach that age at the same time being able to do things, to enjoy life.
But not go through some more pain, because I'm looking at some countries all around us that are going already through that pain. They haven't learned the lessons. I'm looking at the Hungarians. I'm looking at the Slovaks that they just voted pro-Russian. And I'm looking at also the Serbs. Some things are starting to happen around there. History doesn't always go into a better place. Humanity doesn't always improve. Technology doesn't always improve.
But it's yin and yang. I mean, it's normal. In order to appreciate a woman and her character, you need to eat some shit before,
Okay.
In order to appreciate a beautiful morning, a sunny morning, you need to have some rain before. And in order to appreciate the snow, you need to have many days of 40 degrees. That's how it is. We appreciate things because something opposite or something difficult happened before. And if you think about it, it's hardship that makes us appreciate life. And it's the same with history, because what is history? History is the sum of the millions of people's experiences and actions and decisions.
Yes.
This is what history is. So I consider it very normal. I have this rule, which is the wedding party rule, I call it. Okay, what is that wedding party? When you have a wedding party, your wedding party, it is unrealistic to expect 100% of your guests to like the music. Do we agree on that?
100%.
Okay. If you accept the fact that 70% of the people, the guests, like the music, this is a super successful one.
Yes.
You set yourself free from many things, So if in our lifetime, 70% of what happened or what has happened so far was good and 30% was hardship, I think that's a very healthy, percentage. And we should be super happy about it.
Romanians had so much hardship because of the communists and then the neo-communists after the revolution. We need some peace. Again, I also had a very smart guy here, Iulian Fota, that told me he's a very good diplomat, and he told me that the vacation is over. And he told me that like 2 years ago, that the vacation, the good times are over, and then we're going to go through that hardship. So I think we need to prepare for that.
I don't know. Yeah, okay. I mean, maybe he knows something I don't, but...
What do you see? You're talking to you're talking to CEOs, mostly CEOs, and you also have a threshold to enter the CEO club. And that means what is the threshold?
It's 10 million euros.
10 million euros for market
the
valuation of
turnover of the company. But that's valid for around 70% of our members, because we have members whose companies don't make 10 million euros. They make 7 or 8 or whatever, but they are so brilliant, and we go mainly for the character. So for us, we can make exceptions sometimes, So for us, just for the record, the most important thing is the character. I don't care if the company of somebody makes 1 billion euros. If the character is not there, or she is not willing to, has other priorities, which I totally respect, there's no match there.
Okay. So talking to these guys, they should be smart because they make a lot of money for them and their companies, their shareholders and the market. They're moving the economy. Some of them are actually moving the economy. When you're talking to them, how do they see the present and the future of this country?
I will refer again to the COVID period. Okay.
Still.
Yes. Why? Because it showed us many things. It showed us that whoever was prepared, for them COVID was an opportunity. And companies became bigger and became richer. For those of them who were able to make fast decisions, again, it worked positively. Even if their market got hit directly. Let me give you an example, and please don't misunderstand me. I'm not trying to praise us. We are a very small organization, and but what do? We gather people in the same room, right? What happened with COVID? We couldn't do that. So my first thought was, okay, we're done. I mean, pretty much that's it. It was a nice ride. We met some great people. Okay, let's, prepare the closing. And then we started thinking with the team. And I have an amazing group of people with me. And we said, okay, what can we do? All right, let's start doing what we know how to do online, even if we don't know how it's done. We had no experience whatsoever in online meetings. So we organized our first online meeting the week before the lockdown. And we took a great risk there, because if it was a flop, there wouldn't be a lockdown or anything, then our members could tell us, come on, guys, I mean, we were supposed to meet last week. Anyway, so we took the chance, we did it. And then as soon as the lockdown came, we started organizing 2 online meetings per week with some great speakers, CEOs of banks, people from Harvard in the States, etc., etc. And we did that for 2 months. Why for 2 months only? Because then after the 1 month, 1.5 months, the whole market had actually started doing this. And then we saw that there was some kind of fatigue. And then we said, what are we as a club? We are something that we want our members to relate, to connect, to correlate as positive, as fun, as something which is great. Do we want to be one more burden on them, as it looks like? No. Okay, let's cut it. But what happened during the 1.5 months that we had the online meetings is that our members, they never left alone. They never felt left alone. They said, wow, my club is still here for me somehow. And then there was another thing. We decided to call everybody. And believe it or not, that was the greatest thing we could do. Started calling me and my colleague at the time. We started calling like 3 members a day. We said, okay, multiplying, Every discussion was like this. Hey, George, how you doing? Is everything okay? Just calling to see if everything's fine. And then there was a monologue following from the member for 30 minutes. In fact, there was a guy, a very good friend, who took 2 hours. I swear. So
he was depressed.
I mean, no, he was feeling stressed. He found somebody to speak to, And after the pandemic and during the pandemic, the amazing happened. We had our best year ever.
Yes.
A club that couldn't gather its people to the same room. We only started in May to gather people in terraces. And not everybody could join, you know. So what I'm saying is, what we did was just a small thing, you know. Other companies did amazing things. Whoever was ready or was able to make strong, fast decisions, they turned a very negative situation into a very positive one.
You became proactive.
You know, and when you are doing this, the main victory is not the victory that you beat COVID. The victory is what you learned. And what you learn is that your life is not your life that's ruling you. You determine your life.
How many members did you keep during the pandemic?
Actually, we were 170 and we ended up being 220.
So more CEOs got richer, or they just joined the club?
No, many more CEOs and owners joined the club, being referred by other members. Why? Because what did they need during that time? They needed advice, information, and knowledge.
And therapy.
And who could give? Okay, yes, in a way, we all need therapy, by the way. So who could give it to them? A community,
of course,
that somebody else was vouching, saying, man, listen, people like George, Sotiris, I don't know, Bogdan, whatever, Maria, and Alina are there. You know these guys. Aren't they super nice and super cool? Yeah, okay. If they are members there, you should be there as well. And all these people, we didn't meet not even one physically. We met them all online, and I was telling guys, I cannot promise you meetings. I mean, you know, I don't know what's going to happen here. And people are saying, it's okay, just put me to an advisory board, because we have those groups that 10 members, non-competing or whatever, they get together and under a very specific process, they meet on their own device. So imagine how useful that was for people who had their own advisory board years before the pandemic, and when the lockdown happened, these guys just switched to online. That was all they did. But they had built on their trust. They knew they could help each other, and it was amazing.
Okay, again, coming back to my question, what are they saying about the present?
About the present, they say, bring it on, because we know how to handle it.
Are you sure? Because I was looking at an interview with a very big industrialist, let's say, the guy that owns Astra Vagoane.
Okay.
And he was saying that his friends, also working in the industry, are saying that they have a very rough time in 2023.
Okay. Good. They should be happy. That's entrepreneurship.
And he also lost, some of his friends lost their businesses in the past year.
Okay, again, I cannot comment on something when I don't know the details, but what I'm saying is, this is entrepreneurship. The market, everybody knows that the market is not going only up, market goes down.
So what's the turnover in CEO clubs?
What do you mean?
How many, let's say, members do you lose because they drop out of your threshold?
Yes.
And how many come in? They rise above the threshold of 10 million euros.
We have a 12 years average of 79.8 renewal rate %.
Okay.
So, and
1 in 5 drops out.
No, it's less, because out of the 220 members, some of the members have 2 years memberships, 3 years memberships. We have 30 members who are lifetime memberships. So it's not that 220 people, they renew every year. Out of them, those to renew are, 120, let's say. So out of that 120, then comes the 80%. Okay. So it's a pretty high, and we're very happy about it. It's a pretty high renewal rate. Now, the number of members who are coming in is always determined the previous year, because our target for us growth is not to become 500 members. For us, growth is for every member who goes out to bring in somebody who is the best possible.
It would be nice to have a Romanian 500, 10 million plus companies.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's not our target, For us, it's not about how many people are in the room. The question is, who are the people who are in the room?
Of course, but it also speaks about our country and the opportunities in this economy.
Romania is an economy of opportunity. And still, and always there will be opportunity. Listen, opportunity lies everywhere.
Of course, but there's a reason that you're commuting here from Athens.
You want me to tell you the reasons why I chose Romania? Because everybody's asking me this question.
Yeah. And why do you stay? I want to know more.
Okay. I chose Romania because, first of all, I had turned down an offer to go to when I was working for Canon. I had turned down an offer to go to work in Amsterdam. Mm-hmm. And since then, because I was thinking I should have done it. And then as soon as I created the opportunity of Romania, I said, I'm going. Why Romania? Number one, because of the proximity. Number two, and most importantly, because of the size of the market. Because in our area, in our neighborhood, Romanian economy is the biggest. And then it was also instinct, because I have to tell you that as soon as I landed with an ATR in Otopeni, for the first time in my life, I did what I always do. I looked around.
For the first time you came on an ATR. That's a very small plane and very wobbly.
Yes. And I looked around and, I said to myself, something good is going to happen here. And indeed, that is one of the best decisions I've made in my life to come to Romania.
I heard you say that before.
Yeah.
That sounds very, very positive about this place. There wasn't so much going on in 2011 around Otopeni when you landed.
Indeed, but you know what was great? Market-wise, the market was recovering, was coming back after 2007, which means that it was clean because all the desperados were out. So whomever I was meeting at the time was leading a proper business and was a proper CEO or a proper owner, Okay. And that was a great thing.
And the DSLRs were still selling?
Yes, of course. Actually, I was very lucky to be in Canon when the transition took place.
To mirrorless?
I was there when the digital cameras came out in the market.
Oh.
I remember ordering from Canon Europe 1.1 megapixel cameras, compact cameras,
okay.
Because I was responsible for photography and video.
Yeah. I remember how great the 5Ds were.
Yeah. Photography is a very, it's art.
And the 1D was always such a great thing.
Yeah.
And amazing. When you saw that, that guy was legit. That was a proper photographer with a big camera in his hand.
Yeah, I had a cupboard in my office full of lenses. So I even had the 500, the bazooka. Yeah. And people were coming to me on Fridays, my colleagues back then, say, "Come on, man, give it to me. I mean, just for 2 days, like junkies. Give me the 500." Yeah, but the photography is a very interesting.
I don't know. Excuse my ignorance. Are you still working there?
No.
Okay.
No, my main business since I came to Bucharest is CEO clubs and Super Brain, as we are called now. By the way, we rebranded, so we are Super Brain, which I think is a word that describes 100% what we are.
Yeah.
And I'm also the managing partner of an M&A advisory. We represent Greece and Romania in a network of 55 countries, and we help clients find companies to buy in Romania, and we help Romanian companies find buyers, but cross-border, mainly. So these are the two things I'm doing. And going back to, because I owe you an answer to the question why I stay here. I stay here because it feels good. It has always felt good.
Okay.
And I know it's simplistic what I'm telling you, but at the end of the day, that's all that matters. If it feels good, if it feels good in a relationship, it feels good in a hotel, if it feels good in a country, actually it feels great.
Do you agree we are more alike than we are different, Romanians and Greeks?
Oh yeah, unfortunately yes. Din păcate. Yes. No, look,
I appreciate the honesty.
We share some great things, and we also share some things which we shouldn't be very proud of, like finding excuses all the time, and
but at least we are not Germans.
I think that Romanians and Greeks, we are open people and warm and very hospitable, and we open the door, as I say, and we are loud, okay, but that's how we like it.
Yes.
And there are 1 million things that I can say that are great about Romania and Romanian people. And again, I'm saying, because it's a very easy thing for expats to say, the people, and I love the people. And yeah, okay. I mean, it's true. But what I can tell you is that after 13 years of commuting to Romania, my best friends are here. Even if I'm not staying weekends, I mean, I have some people here who I consider to be like brothers of mine. Not necessarily only Romanians, Turks, Spanish, Indians, you name it. So
again, what are they saying about the near future? How do they see the near future around here?
I will answer with a question. Who can tell what the near future is?
Mai e puțin până la Crăciun și cel mai bun cadou pe care poți să ți-l faci, ție și familiei tale, este să-i faci fericiți. Cea mai simplă și cea mai eficientă metodă sunt decorațiunile, în special luminițele de toate felurile. De aceea îți recomandăm Twinkly de pe Gadget.ro. Acestea sunt cele mai inteligente lumini decorative și cel mai ușor de instalat. Pur și simplu le agăți la interior sau la exterior și apoi cu aplicația de pe smartphone le scanezi și le configurezi să afișeze ce imagini vrei tu. Practic funcționează ca un ecran LED, iar fiecare beculeț ca un pixel ce se poate lumina în orice culoare sau la orice intensitate vrei tu. Le găsești și pe acestea pe GB.ro, magazinul unde testăm toate gadgeturile înainte să ți le recomandăm.
They need to do some, let's say, prognostics because they are in charge of companies that need to forecast.
Okay, they forecast, but you know what? They review the forecast and the budget every 3 months.
Really?
Of course, who can forecast now? I mean, okay, yeah, you set a target, you set KPIs and this and that for next year, but things are changing so fast that you need to catch up and update. So every 3 months, there is a review.
Why? Why do you need to review every 3 months?
Because there are changes in legislation that affect your numbers. Because there is a war in Ukraine when it started, nobody was able to anticipate such a thing. Because there are things that are happening which affect us, although they are happening far away or outside of the country.
Do businesses feel threatened by the war, or it just affects supply chains?
I wouldn't say that they feel threatened. Of course, I mean, the whole thing affected the supply chains and still affects the supply chains and the energy prices, and whole economies are really influenced by that, like the German economy. I mean, there are huge implications. We go back to what I told you at the beginning about the news and why I don't follow the news. You can only worry about the things you can influence.
But still, you need to keep an eye on
of course.
Near threats.
That's preparation.
Preparation.
And preparation should always be there. And you know what? Preparation is needed most in great times.
Okay.
The mother of a very good friend of mine, she used to tell him, we save money when we have money. Most people, they try to save money when they don't have money.
Yes.
There is a very deep wisdom in this. We save money when we have money. It's the same with the companies. When you are on the wave, this is when you need to save. Because when the bad times will come, they will be bad times for the rest. For you will be a huge opportunity.
The market is going to get cleaned up of desperados.
Yes, and who's going to pick up the best parts of the market? You, because you have prepared.
Because serious companies fight for market share during a depression, not for big numbers.
You see? So you mentioned Seneca before. Seneca said that luck is when good preparation meets the opportunity.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Okay.
So
big companies like you, like the companies that you get together in CEO clubs, are eyeing opportunities now.
Big and small,
they are hunting for opportunities.
Of course, always. But in order to do that, you need to be prepared.
So they got prepared before?
Some of them, yes. But of course, some others. But because let's not, a hotel, a tour operator, a big tour operator. If they had a tough time, it wasn't because they did something wrong. I mean, they rent rooms. If they rent rooms and there is lockdown, unfortunately, sorry. So what happened, their hardship was not the result of a bad business decision. People stopped flying.
Yes.
What can you do? Business minus 97, real number. Minus 97%.
It's true.
What kept them afloat, though, was the preparation.
Are foreign businesses in Romania afraid of the new fiscal interventions of the government?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I guess that they analyze them and they adjust their plans based on what is what it is. I mean, every company, every CEO knows that during the year something will happen which they haven't anticipated. Okay.
But in Romania, that will most definitely be the case.
Okay, then we will adjust our plans to work under these circumstances.
If these guys go ahead with what they said, increasing the pensions again, the inflation stays high, and then they're going to also introduce, let's say, they're almost getting rid of the, let's say, how do you call that? Cota unică.
Okay.
So if they're going to go into a progressive taxation, what would that mean for foreign investments in the country?
I believe that foreign investments will remain because there is a bigger thing than a few fiscal changes. My opinion. But again, I cannot speak on behalf of anybody because I've never run a big business. So, okay, that's my personal opinion. Another personal opinion which I have, and I will talk for Greece, is that although we have for decades this progressive taxation system, I believe that we should run towards a flat tax, if you ask me. Because a flat tax is uninterpretable, if there is such a word.
Unnegotiable.
That's it, 16%, 20%, whatever it is, flat. But doesn't matter how much money you made, this is what everybody pays. If you make 5 million, you will pay 1 million euros. If I make 50,000 euros, I'll pay whatever. So it simplifies things. In Greece, we have managed in, quote unquote, we have managed to have created a fiscal system, a tax system that changes every year, full of, it's practically impossible to read it and interpret it. And it's like it's like a labyrinth. Things need to be simple. They need to be simple. If I am a foreign investor and I decide to invest in, Nicaragua, I would say, okay, how will we get taxed in Nicaragua? It's 20% for everybody, no matter what. Fantastic. I know from the beginning, I know what kind of business I should be. I know what kind of size I'm looking for to make the money which satisfy the shareholders or whomever. But that's it.
One of the most important lessons I had to learn about investment and companies like that is that they look at the total cost of doing business, because taxation is only one part of the business, and then there's the level of security and infrastructure and everything else. And this is why when these companies go into, let's say, developing countries, like they used to call them, the poor countries, they look at high yields. They need to make a lot of money to cover for a lot of expenses.
In a shorter period of time.
Because in established markets, in big countries, things are already in place. Taxation is that, it's not going to change. And if you do a forecast, you might actually get where you're forecasting to. So again, about Romania, is at this time Romania still a developing economy? Is an established economy? Is it an advanced economy?
I think it's an established economy, in my opinion, although I'm not an economist myself, but what I can tell you from my experience is that it is an established economy, because when you have an economy that grows for the last 10 years, that's a status quo. I mean, it's a given. It's a country whose decisions in terms of central bank, although at some point they seem to be very conservative, during turbulent times, in my opinion, they turned out to be very good decisions. Most of them, as far as I know, again, I'm not analyzing.
I'm not so sure they're going to keep the exchange rate, but that's a different thing.
That's another thing. And it's EU. It's a democratic country. So it has we may not have highways, as many highways as we would like to have, but we are a democratic country. We are a country that you will not be prosecuted because of your beliefs or your stance on something or whatever. It's a country where every 4 years elections are happening, sometimes with the results which are good, sometimes with the results which are not good, but like in every democracy, that's great. It is what it is.
Okay.
And also Romania, its geographic positioning helps a lot, because it's in the heart of Europe. And it's not by accident that it has become the size of the market it is.
Really?
Okay. It's an open society. There are societies around us which are not so open. In general, I'm talking as an attitude now. Okay, so there are many advantages that Romania has. And we must focus, mainly the governors, who's ever governing this place, to focus on that.
I like how you put it. Whoever's governing this place.
Yeah, because I don't know the names. That's why I don't imply anything. I just don't know the names.
I appreciate it. And still, we have less problems than Greece has because you are neighboring some countries that send you a lot of bad people. There's some migrants that migrate for, let's say, for the good reasons because they run for their lives. But also, I've heard stories about migrants that are bringing the worst to Greece.
Usually people are not the problem. People themselves, I mean. The migration issue in Greece is one to have in a different discussion because it's a whole, it's a big issue.
I just wanted to touch on the difference because Greece is struggling, is neighboring some countries that, let's say, if we look at the Hungarians and we are not always friendly to each other, the Hungarians are great neighbors in comparison to what Greece has.
Look, as I said, one of my best friends in Romania is a Turk, so obviously I love them, and I every time I go to Istanbul, I have an amazing time.
Of
so
course.
Anyway,
but like Bucharest is not Romania, Istanbul is not necessarily Turkey.
Okay, but what I can say is that politics cannot be interpreted in one way. And we cannot call Turkey a bad neighbor just because some governments or some rulers of the country decide from time to time. Because if you are there and observe, you will see that things are happening not randomly, okay?
Yes.
So I believe that both countries, we should be friends. And I believe that, let me clear this, I'm sure that people are friends.
Of course.
Okay, politicians now, they play their own game. And that's another story. But people, every time I go to Istanbul or somebody is coming to, a Turk is coming to Athens, and we realize that I'm Greek and they are Turkish, well, we have so many things that we share, so many things. So,
I don't want to push on that side.
No, it's okay. So I will tell you. Now, with the immigrants are used. Unfortunately, many times.
Yes.
They are used as a pressure point from politicians.
Of course.
And it's a very sad thing to see people being used from politicians. Okay. Yes. Okay, it's a situation that was very bad, not very bad, but out of control during the 5 years of the previous government. It has been under control or under more control, if you like, during the last 5 years of this government.
Okay.
I believe in the free movement of people. We Greeks, we are a nation of immigrants. I mean, meaning that's why wherever you go in the world, in the States, Greeks, Greek community, in Australia, Greek community, in Belgium, Greek community, everywhere. And why did we leave? We left because Greece was a very poor country at the time. So we left to send money back to feed our families. So this is something I respect really a lot. However, I believe that all this should be happening in a way which is
sustainable.
Which is organized. Not anybody can jump on a boat and land for me to go to Sicily. If I want to go there, I have to go officially, and go there and be registered and go there and go to school, learn the language. Yes. I mean, to do the whole processes I have. Of
course.
And you know what? I'm really happy every time I see an immigrant who has come to Greece, who has made something good for themselves and their families, opening a nice store, a nice restaurant, a nice thing.
In the meanwhile,
this is the people we want.
In the meanwhile, Athens is getting dangerous at night because of migrants.
But, it would be a simplification to say that.
Okay.
Bad people are bad people, and they are not necessarily immigrants or locals or whatever. Unfortunately, they are all kinds.
Because we also need to learn from that. When you bring a lot of people in a very short time into a country, it makes things complicated. And also here in Romania, we're looking at an influx of working migrants. And we also need to, let's say, make a selection where we bring people from, how do we qualify them for work, and if they're stopping here or going anywhere else. Yeah, because also Romania, it's still developing. Yeah, we need more people to work in this country, but also bring some challenges. And again, I think it would be smart to learn from the Greek recent history in that respect.
Yeah, again, the truth is that we have been through some very challenging times with these uncontrolled movements. I'm not the person to say, but as a citizen, as a Greek citizen, what I say is that I'm all pro accepting people from wherever they are. To me, is I will not say it's the same, because it's not the same, but I'm very open to that, as long as people are coming, respecting the culture that they find there and accepting it. And if they don't like it, they can just jump on a plane and leave.
Yes,
Okay?
Because coming into a country and trying to make it into something you left.
With that, I don't agree.
If you left Syria or Turkey or Morocco or any other country and you come into Europe, you're coming here to change your life, not to change the place you're coming to.
Look, there is a middle ground. As much as I like driving around New York City and finding 10 Greek churches, Orthodox churches, the same way I believe that if in this country or in Greece we have, I don't know, X% number of people who are Muslims, I don't know, from Tibet, whatever, yes, they should have their place to go and pray and everything.
I'm not talking about religion.
But you cannot come to the beach and tell me that a lady in bikini is provoking. Because that's who we are and that's what we are. And we are proud that we are a society that women are free and by default free and by default respected by everybody. And, you don't, I don't know, whatever. If you don't like that or somebody doesn't like that, the same way I wouldn't maybe go and live somewhere where I wouldn't be able to hold my wife's hand and kiss her in the middle of the street, I would say, guys, sorry, this is not the place for me. I will move somewhere else. Okay.
Yes.
This we all have to respect what we find. It's like you coming to my house.
But we also need to pay attention to these things because they are not granted. We do not need to take them for granted. They are part of our culture, but we need to protect this culture.
Yes,
also.
Yes, and I think that this is one of the great achievements of Europe. And we Europeans, we tend to forget. We have gained all those rights and the freedom to do all these things through centuries. It wasn't given to us.
Through pain.
Through pain, through
a lot of
learning.
Pain. Remember the Dark Ages.
Yeah. And then Renaissance and, everything. And it seems that we are very easy into giving up, these things. Not giving up, but not really appreciating them as much as we should. And that's because we had them for a long period of time. And many people don't know different,
We become comfortable.
We became very comfortable, yes. I have a recent example of a friend who is coming from a country, it doesn't matter, and his son liked some figure from that country but it's a figure that is not so much friend to the local government. And he asked him to unlike because they know somebody's watching, And I'm talking for a country which is not in Europe, it's far away.
Can you give me a proper example?
It's a Latin American country, but it doesn't really matter. This thing is unthinkable for Europeans, right?
Of course.
I mean, I have the right to say not to insult anybody, but I have the right to my opinion. Yeah. Okay. Many people don't, but here in Europe, we don't really recognize the things that we have gained for ourselves, that we have achieved for ourselves.
Problem is that we became comfortable because we believe tolerance is a given, and our tolerance is becoming used against us. Mm-hmm. So we need to pay attention to that. Again, it's a lesson that the Greeks have learned the hard way. You brought us democracy, a little bit of capitalism. Also, from what I'm reading, also the way the Christian religion is today is also mostly Greek.
I don't know. I haven't studied religion at all, so I cannot, I don't have an opinion. However, one great book to read is the history of the Peloponnesian War. And when you read this, you will realize that this is what imperialism is. One of the main depictions of imperialism in a book, you will see it there. Athens being the US of the time.
Of course.
And, Spartans being the whatever of the time. And it's amazing. If you change the names and if you just change the dates, it's like you're reading history of today.
So again, we need to look at the Greek history because again, Greece has always been ahead of its time with millennia at some points and in some time because at the time Athens was the US, let's say, the biggest superpower, and that's great. That's a good thing. We have something to learn from. And again, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, George, for the invitation and the nice discussion.
I feel like we left out a lot of things. I wish we could have talked more about, let's say, artificial intelligence and how it's going to impact businesses, but maybe we can meet some other time.
With pleasure. And if I could just give you an one-word answer, that would be revolution.
Of course.
We have no clue. Just one thing, 5 years ago, we visited the Google Asia Pacific with the club, the members. And they prepared the full day of seminars for us in their headquarters. And one of them was 5 years ago. They showed us, advertising clips, TV ads, one created by AI and one created by humans. And we couldn't tell the difference 5 years ago. So think now. If 5 years ago was this, and we had no clue, the rest of the normal people, if now we know ChatGPT, what has already happened and we have no clue about it? So we haven't seen anything yet.
A few hours ago, they just launched their new GPTs. Everybody can make their own GPT inside the GPT-4 Turbo and whatnot.
Man, we have no clue. I mean, really, we have no clue.
I was hoping you had, but maybe you get a clue. And you come back.
With pleasure, with pleasure.
Mr. Sotiris Chatzidakis. Sotiris, thank you again for coming.
Amazing. You said it right. So
I really like how it sounds.
As I said, simplified Haji. So it's okay.
Okay. No, I'm going to call you Sotiris.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Again, thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed this conversation, everyone watching. I hope you like and share it with your friends. I hope you subscribe. And again, thank you to our members that have seen this interview ahead of time because they support us with their sponsorships, with their memberships every month. You can also listen to this in podcast form on any podcatcher. And that's it for now. Until the next time, take care of yourself and have a good day. Bye-bye.